it's Jessie here. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. Today's video is going to be my budget for the first week in March. I don't know about you guys, but I am super excited for March budgeting. I'm so ready to get started. So I have in front of me my Budget by Paycheck workbook pages, which I have punched and put into a Happy Planner disc-bound system. I absolutely love the system. It works out great for me. And we are looking at this first calendar page where I have written in all of our paydays as well as all of the bills that are due throughout the month of March. We are going to sit down, take my little highlighter here. This is a zebra mild liner in the color orange. And we are going to figure out exactly which bills we are going to pay with this paycheck. So this is the paycheck my husband receives on March 2nd. So I'm just going to indicate that this paycheck is this color. I like using the mild liners for this because they have a skinny fine point tip on one side and then they have the chisel tip on the other. So this works out great. Now, what bills are we going to pay? You guys know that we are paycheck budgeters. We budget paycheck to paycheck, and so typically the way that we would do this is we would pay just all of the bills that are due between now and the next pay period, which you can see there's just one lonely bill here, which is Weight Watchers, and we could do that, but it would be a pretty, short video, and it would be a pretty low spending week. We've made it our goal to get ahead on our bills as much as possible. We eventually would like to be a month ahead. We're not quite there yet, but we are trying to pay some bills ahead of time. And so, yes, we're going to pay this Weight Watchers bill with this paycheck, but in addition, we're also going to pay some of these others. So we are going to pay Netflix, Disney Plus, and Hulu. We're also going to pay HBO Max and Boost, as well as Spotify. We are going to skip some of these other bills, but we're also, with this paycheck, going to tackle our car insurance, our bike insurance, and our camper payments. So all of these bills are going to be taken care of with this week's income, which is exciting. Obviously, some of these bills we will be able to pay right away, the bills that are due in this week. For all of these other bills, some of them I can pay ahead of time, like this Boost bill I could go in and pay today, even though it's not due until the 15th. I could go in and make my camper payment today, but there's some of these that are bills that are set up for automatic payments, so they won't come out until the day they are due. So the way that I handle that is I take the money from our main checking account and I just transfer it to a secondary checking account that we opened, which is sort of like just a holding place for this money. And then when these bills are due, we will have that money set aside to cover them. So that's how we handle paying bills ahead of time. And these are all of the bills we are going to pay this week. So you can see we have knocked out a big chunk of our monthly bills with just this first paycheck, which is exciting. That means we are closer than ever to our goal of being a month ahead. We're not quite there yet, but I'm pleased with this. So those are the bills we're going to pay. Let's go ahead and flip the page to the March paycheck bill tracker. And we're going to go ahead and write in the paycheck date, which is March 2nd. This is my, gotta take this little rubber tip off. This is a brand new Parkoo erasable pen. I restocked. I bought some and then I had a sweet subscriber friend send me some of the Parkoo pens in black that she wasn't using, which was super, super sweet. So thank you, Karen, if you're watching this. So yeah. Paycheck date is March 2nd, 2021, and we are just going to get started right away with our bills. I don't disclose my husband's income. This is his paycheck, so we aren't going to talk about this income section today. So for bills, I'm going to zoom you guys in a little bit. And we are just going to essentially write in all of those bills that I just highlighted. And in addition to that, I also put anything else that we are going to pay with our checking account under this bills section. So in addition to all of the bills, I'm also going to put grocery, and that's actually what I'm going to start with. I use the Walmart grocery pickup service for our groceries, which means that I order my groceries online, so I have to use a card to pay that, so this gets stuck under this bills category as well. I have a family of 4. It is myself, my husband, and our 2 children. Robert is 18 and Austin is 13, so I've got some growing boys. We live in Southeast Michigan. All of those factors get factored into how much we budget for groceries, and that amount is $150. And this is just for food. I have sinking funds for things like household expenses, pet expenses, personal care things. This is something new. At one point in time, I had all of those things lumped in under this grocery category, but it was just becoming too much. I was way overshooting my grocery budget every single week because I was trying to do too much with too little. And so seeing that I was constantly going over budget in this category made me reconsider my situation, change things up a little bit, and now that's how we have decided to tackle things. We're going to try it out for a few weeks and see how it goes. We can always change our mind later, but that's the plan for now. So $150 for groceries. And now we are just going to list out all of those bills that we just highlighted. So first up, we have Weight Watchers, and I actually, luckily enough, do not have a payment that I'm going to have to make this week, or this month rather, because one of you guys signed up using my link, which I so appreciate. I have a link in my description box where you can click and sign up for Weight Watchers. If you have a few pounds you'd like to lose, you can sign up and you will get your first month free by using my link. And not only is that a big win for you, it's also a big win for me because then I get a free month as well. So someone used my link, so my March payment is going to be $0. I get this month for free. So thank you. If you were the one that signed up, I appreciate that. Next up, we have Netflix. And for Netflix, we are going to budget $14. That's, the rate. I think we have the plan that allows for 2 screens to be used at a time. I don't have the highest tier of Netflix anymore. I did for a while, but we just found that we were never all kind of wanting to use Netflix at the same time. We have a lot of other streaming services, so we pay $14 a month-ish. I always tend to round my numbers up when I'm budgeting, just so that I know that we are covered and we aren't going over budget. So that's Netflix. Next up, we have Hulu, which we are going to budget $6 for. And I do have the bundle with Hulu and Disney Plus and ESPN. You pay, I think, $12.99, and you get all 3 of those services. I just have it broken up here on my bill tracker because we already had Hulu when we signed up for that plan, so we don't pay just one lump sum of $12.99. Each transaction is taken out separately. So that's how I write it out in my budget. So for Disney Plus then, we budget $7, which makes up the difference there. Next up, we have HBO Max. Yep, another streaming service. There are so many of these streaming services now. It's kind of ridiculous. I liked it much better when there was just kind of one and everything was on it, but now everybody wants to have their own streaming service, so there's certain shows and movies available on one that aren't available on the other, so I feel like we're missing out if we don't have all these different services. We might as well just go back to cable the way it used to be. But yes, HBO Max. We did get this starting last month and we have been enjoying it, so we decided to keep it for March. And for that, we're going to budget $16. Next up is Spotify. This is the Spotify family plan. I'm thinking about canceling this. When I kind of signed us up for it, I figured we would give it a month or two and see if we were using it, if it was worth it. We're not really finding that we are using it all that much, so I'm thinking about canceling it. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and budget it in. If I decide to cancel it before the bill is due, that's fine, but I want the money just in case we decide to keep it. And we're budgeting $16 for that as well. Next up is Boost. This is our mobile phone. It's a pay-as-you-go service, so there's no contract. We have 4 lines, unlimited talk, text, and data, and we pay $130 a month for that, so that's what I've budgeted there. Next up, we have my camper payment. My husband and I own a camper that we are making payments on, and we budget $200 for that. Next up is car insurance. This is insurance for my Subaru Forester that I absolutely love. It's my dream car, and I was so excited to be able to get that car last year. Love, love, love it. So we're paying to insure that as well as the camper, and for that we are going to budget $165. Next after that is my husband's bike insurance. This is his motorcycle. He doesn't really ride his motorcycle all that much anymore. This is something we're contemplating selling in the future. Right now it's off season, so no one's looking to buy a motorcycle right now anyway, but this is something we're considering. But for now, we have it, we're keeping it insured, and that we're budgeting $35 for. And lastly, I forgot all about Audible. Or did we pay Audible last week? I may have paid Audible last week. I'm not sure. I need to check my transaction log and find out. But for now, I'm going to budget for it just in case I didn't pay it. If it turns out that we've already paid this and we don't owe it, that's fine. It just means I'll be under budget, which is totally good. For Audible, we're budgeting that $15 for my husband's subscription. So I'm going to go ahead and add all of this up now. This is all of the bills we're tackling with this week's income. So I have my trusty calculator here, and I'm just going to plug these numbers in. And our bill category is $754. So that takes care of bills. Now we're going to move on to cash envelopes. And for cash envelopes, we have a few spending categories that we give ourselves cash for every single week. Starting out with my husband's spending money. This is his pocket money. I give him $40 every single week to spend however he pleases. I just give him the cash. I don't expect him to come back and give me receipts or tell me what he spent that money on. I just put it into the budget that we spent $40. I give it to him and it's gone. Similarly, I have my spending money. I also get $40. Next up, we have gas. This is gas for our Subaru, and I always budget $40 a week for that. Gas prices continue to go up, so we definitely want to make sure that we have enough money in our budget to fill our tank every week. Next up is eating out. In the month of February, we made it a goal not to eat out at all, so that we could take the extra money that we were spending on eating out and pay it towards our credit card. We were in a big hurry to pay off our Discover card before the interest rate kicked in, and so that was one of the ways that I decided I was going to kind of come up with the extra money to pay that off. We did really, really well in February. We actually did eat out one time, but that is way, way better than the twice a week we were eating out before. It worked out great, and so we're just going to keep right on rolling and try not to eat out in March either. So I'm still going to budget the $25 because, you know, we might slip and eat out, even though it's our goal not to. So I want to have the money there just in case, but hopefully at the end of the week, we will not have touched that $25 and it can go towards debt. So that's eating out. Next is miscellaneous. I have a miscellaneous line item in my budget to cover anything else that comes up throughout the week that I didn't think to budget for, because it's inevitable every week something pops up and I don't want to go over budget and have an unbudgeted expense if I can help it. So this $25 that I'm budgeting for miscellaneous just acts as sort of a catch-all to cover anything else that I missed. Maybe we go over budget a little tiny bit in one of these other categories. That $25 can act as a buffer. So that's my miscellaneous envelope. Next up, we have Austin. I'm going to put my son's money under envelopes this week because we have a ton of money we are adding to sinking funds, and I won't have nearly enough lines if I don't include my son's money here. So for Austin, this is his allowance. He gets $20 a week. And then we have Robert. Robert is my 18-year-old son. He's an adult, so he doesn't get an allowance anymore. He's on his own. But he does drive my son Austin to school in the mornings. I thought it was so sweet of him to offer to do that. Austin could take a bus, but it's been so cold here in Southeast Michigan. Robbie offered to drive Austin to school so he doesn't have to stand out and wait for the bus to pick him up, which is so sweet. And so I give him a little bit of money to help him with gas since he's being such a sweet brother and doing that. So that's $15 for that. So that's everything for cash envelopes. This is all of the cash we are going to pull out the start of the week. In terms of spending money, we will be pulling out cash for sinking funds, but we'll talk about that next. For now, we've got 40 plus 40 plus 40 plus 25 plus 15, $205 is our envelope total this week. Next up, we have sinking funds. So as I mentioned, we do pull out cash for sinking funds. That's the way we've chosen to do our sinking funds. You don't have to do it in cash. It's just how we like to do it. And I'm filling a ton of sinking funds this week because we have quite a few funds that are kind of puny. I wanted to bulk them up a little bit, and we had the extra money to be able to do that, so I figured why not. So the first thing we are going to add money to is anniversary. My husband and I are going to be celebrating, gosh, is it 15 years of marriage already? At the end of March. Our anniversary is March 31st, and we want to just have a nice dinner. We're not like going away or doing anything super exciting. We just want to have a nice dinner. So we've been putting money away a little bit at a time, so when that comes up, we have it. We're going to add $20 to our anniversary fund this week. Next up, we have campground. My husband and I own a camper, and we have it at a campsite. It sits there all year round. We pay an annual fee. It's winter storage in the winter, and then it's camping and amenities all spring, summer, and fall. We pay about $1,400 a year for that, and so we have it as a sinking fund so that we can save up little bits of money throughout the year so that when that comes due, it's not a huge hit to our finances. We're going to add $60 to our campground this week. Next up is Christmas. This is kind of the epitome of a sinking fund here. It's the one that I always use as an example. Christmas comes once a year. You know you're going to want to spend money for it. Don't wait till in December to do your Christmas shopping and then swipe a credit card. Instead, just put a little bit of money aside every week so that when Christmas rolls around, you have the cash all ready to go. This is the sinking fund that has made the biggest difference for us because we were the ones that would wait until Christmas and then swipe a credit card and then pay interest on all of those gifts rather than paying for them outright. So we love our Christmas fund, and we're adding $50 to that this week. Next up is clothing. I'm going to add just $20 to our clothing fund. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. If we need new clothes, we take money out of the clothing fund. Next up is haircuts, and haircuts is going to get $20 as well. My kiddos and my husband all are going to need haircuts soon, and my haircuts fund is empty right now, I believe, so we need to bulk that up. Next is holidays. So in addition to our Christmas fund, we also have a holidays fund, which is sort of a catch-all for all of the other holidays. We spend way more on Christmas than we do any of the other holidays, and so we just keep them separate that way for that reason. In our holidays envelope right now, we are saving for Easter. That's coming up next month, and we're going to add $20 to that fund. Next up is household. I mentioned to you guys that we have taken our household expenses as well as our personal care expenses and made sinking funds for those. And we're going to add $20 to our household fund. Next is personal care, and that's going to get $20 as well. So for household, those are things like household cleaners, laundry detergent, toilet paper, that sort of thing. Personal care is more like shampoo, skincare products, that sort of thing. That's kind of how I differentiate. That's going to get 20 as well. Next up is pets. So pet expenses used to come right out of my grocery budget as well, and instead we've made a separate category for this. Actually, we've always had this pet sinking fund, but prior to this, we were using that just for like vet visits and things. Now this is going to encompass all things pets. So cat litter, we have 2 cats, Sirius and Jax. So this will be for their litter, their food, anything like that. And pets is going to get $50 today. And lastly, I have my P.O. box. My P.O. box renewal is in April, I believe, and so I need to start putting money away for that. We're going to add $20 to that fund this week. So pull out my trusty calculator again, and we'll go ahead and add these up. So 20 plus 60 plus 50 plus 20 plus 20 plus 20 plus 20 plus 20 plus 50 plus 20, $300 in sinking funds this week. That's more than usual, but like I said, I wanted to bulk some of our funds up. Next up, we have extra debt, which I am super excited about, you guys, because we are moving on to our Amazon card with our debt snowball. If you watched my update video, we paid off Discover. I'm so relieved that we were able to pay that off before the interest kicked in and that we were able to move on. We decided we were going to move forward with paying off our Amazon card next. It is the card with the highest balance, and we got a long road ahead of us, but our debt snowball, including the minimum payment for our Amazon card now, has moved up. We were paying $173 every single week towards our credit card debt, and now we are up to $210. So, gulp, that's a big chunk, but I'm excited to be able to pay that every single week towards our Amazon card. So that takes care of the extra debt we're gonna make. And lastly, we have extra savings. So, I have quite a few savings challenges. If you missed my March savings challenge update video, I'm gonna link it above. Definitely check it out so you can see what our savings challenges are going to look like. So first up, we have the 52-week savings challenge. That is something that I have been participating in since the start of the year. I have a printable, and I'm going to flip you to it really quickly so we can figure out what we're going to save for the 52-week savings challenge. I'm so excited about it. So for the 52-week savings challenge this week, we are going to be saving, where did my highlighter go? Here it is. $36. That's what we're gonna pay this week. I just decided. So every week I just sit down and I choose which of these boxes I want to pay. If I pick a different box every single week throughout 2021, at the end of the year, I will have saved $1,000, which is exciting. So we are going to save $36 for the 52-week savings challenge. Next up, we have Savopoly, which is a fun savings challenge printable that I found on mothermeandI.com. We're going to flip to that as well. So when I did my rolling for Savopoly in my March savings challenge video, which you can check out, I'll link it above here in case you missed it, for the first paycheck in the month of March, I rolled and I landed on $9. So that is what we are going to pay towards Savopoly. In addition to that, in that video, I also talked about my playing card savings challenge, which is a savings challenge that I kind of created for myself using a deck of cards. And I just, for each week in the month, I drew 2 cards and saved the amount that the cards represented. And for the first week, we're saving $15 for the playing card savings challenge. So let me go back to my tracker here. And we will enter those amounts in. So 52-week savings we said was $36. For Savopoly, we're going to do $9 for the cards savings challenge. We are doing $15. And lastly, I have my Nintendo Switch savings, which technically, I guess, could be considered a sinking fund, but I have the envelope that I use to save the money for the Switch in my savings section of my accordion folder, and that's why I include it down here. Also, there's no space left in my sinking funds because I saved so much this week for that. So for my Switch, you guys know I've already purchased my Nintendo Switch. I'm so excited about it, but there's still games and stuff I want to save for, so we're going to add just $10 to the Switch fund. So I'm going to add that up. $36 for the 52-week savings challenge, plus 9, plus 15, plus 10, for a total of $70 in extra savings this week. All right, friends, so that's it. That is a look at my budget for the paycheck my husband received on March 2nd. The first paycheck of March, done and dusted. Hopefully I'm able to stick really well to this. You guys can come back here early next week to see how I did. I'll be posting my budget results video where I take a look at my budget and I write in this actual category and tell you what I actually spent, talk about whether I'm over budget or under budget for the week, and what, if anything, I have left over at the end of the week to go towards debt. So you're not going to want to miss it. Make sure that you subscribe so you can come back and check out that video, as well as all of my other videos. I post new budgeting and lifestyle content here on my channel every single week. Thank you so much for watching today, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye, friends.